This is a concept tutorial to give you a better understanding of how to properly use the OCP or one-click proxy add-on. This is going to work in two separate ways. Number one, you can just OCP the selected object here, and what it's going to do is it's going to transfer that geometry via geometry nodes, and you don't have that many faces now. Is viewport and logic, and what it's meaning to do is give you a proxy in the viewport. This will actually speed up the viewport according to how much of a face count you have, and that is what we're working with here. There's a number of controls here like delete active proxy, show and hide. You can go to solid view, wireframe, and you can use you could show the actual object, or you could turn the proxy on and off here. So this is pretty useful. This will show you that via geometry nodes, and then the proxy type, you can change that as well. And if you are still in object mode, you'll need to be in proxy for this to work. So you click that and it will show convex hull. Now, moving down just a little bit, you can kind of decimate. It will give you just a little bit of a decimate option. And down here, there is a true batch decimate. Cover that at the end. You can also scale this proxy up and down. This does not change how the proxy, or rather your original object, will look at the final. So I'll just put one back in there. I'm going to switch over to material preview. And then what we can do is, let's just delete that proxy. You can see our object. If we come over here and add a material, and we have something like this, nice metallic looking object. Maybe we even want to shade it auto smooth because we're in Blender 4.2.3, and we have that option now as an actual geometry node. And you can ignore sharpness and a lot of cool things there. But coming back over for the material, this will transfer to the proxy. I'm going to add an option for that to not show up. And what I mean by that is it will either transfer the material from your original object to the proxy or not. That will be up to you. So if I go by selected, now face count will work. So I see I have 500 faces. All I want to do is say anything 500 that meets the criteria of 500 or less will show up and give a proxy. And if I click OCP, nothing happens because I'm at 501. If I'm down to 500, it's going to OCP that and anything that is below that count. This will give you an option to basically proxy things in groups and not have to do the entire scene. So now what we want to do is we want to render this. We can throw a camera in here. All right, let's take a look at materials and how this is going to work. The active object has one material slot at the moment. So if we go ahead and proxy this, the material transferred over, and we go to render, we're going to see the object. We're not going to see the proxy, and that's by design. So now we come back over to the material slots and we add, let's say, 2 more materials. Make these distinctly different colors. And let's move the blue material up in the slot and then click re-render. You're going to see the exact same object with the same color. And that is because that material is already loaded into the proxy. So here you've already got this material. So if we come back over, we see material 2 is in that slot, and the add-on loaded material 2. So you can come in here and load a different material. If you've got a bunch of objects, whatever, and you want to transfer all their individual materials, each one, it'll do that. So let me just Shift D, and we'll do this. And this guy here will get just the green material, and we'll make sure that's good. And so now, with no OCPs on anything, we'll OCP everything, and we'll see the individual materials have now transferred. And we'll do this, and we'll see we're good. Everything's the way it should be. Now if I come over here to just the blue, I've got all these other material slots, but only blue is showing up because only blue was loaded initially, because that's what's being grabbed by the add-on due to that's in the first slot. So if I was to shift the orange up and delete that and then re-add it, that is now going to be added in. And so that's good. Everything there looks normal. And now we're going to render that orange metallic material. So everything there is the way it should be. And like I said, by design, this is how it's going to work. And it may not transfer multiple materials because of this reason. And this is just meant to preview high poly mesh and get your final render. So this is the purpose of the add-on. Then you can also do bulk operations down here. And we did skip over the auto smooth, but I think that's pretty self-explanatory. That is just this auto smooth here. So that is built into the add-on. You can use the same thing here. And now I can scale all objects here at one time. I could turn on or off all of these modifiers. Let's return our scale back to normal. That looks good. And so down here, you'll have the option for convex hull or bounding box. And unfortunately, I've turned all of them off. So now we need to turn them back on. Now we can turn convex hull or bounding box for all of them. You have the same controls here for an individual proxy. And now if I wanted to add a custom proxy to all of these, this is one of my favorite features, and it was by request. So let's pin this. And I don't know if you knew you could do that, but you can right click and pin this add-on in the end panel. And then if you had another add-on, you can kind of corral those and bring them in, which is cool. Very useful for selecting an object that does not have this, and it's still going to be a little troublesome because I have active object properties, which will give you errors if you don't have it selected, but it's still helpful. You still have your add-on pinned up there. So if I select this object, it's now going to do that for everything that was selected. I didn't have the other one selected, so let's do that. And now we have a custom proxy that not only changed the object, but it also took the material, which is fabulous. And now we can shift that custom object on or off. So we're back to bounding box. So don't let that confuse you. You're still on convex hull. So you go back to bounding box and then you would turn this on. You'll see a little check mark. Then for batch decimation, we can go ahead and grab that. And let's get rid of all of this. And I'll look into why my delete is giving me an error there. Not too big of a deal, still operating. But the batch decimate works on selected and face count also. So if you wanted to select all of these objects, obviously when you have a light selected, it's going to ignore that. And if I'm around the 500 threshold, the global ratio of the decimation will be 0.5. So it's going to be halfway decimated when it comes in. I just click decimate, and it's going to drop that to 0.5 right here. And so now I can shift this up and down here, or I can do a global ratio and I can decimate all of them. This is really good for animations and things like that. So that way you have a couple of options, and then with all those selected, if you don't want them anymore, you can just delete. And if you don't want to use the face count, then you don't have to. But that's OCP, and that is the add-on. Thank you for considering it. Thank you for supporting myself and my other dev creator that works with me, which is Sam. And he's got a page. You could just go to Blender Market and type in SKD Sam. He's got some cool add-ons like this maze maker. And we won't be demoing that here, but this is a very powerful add-on. And now I can unpin that. It just creates mazes for you. Very cool. Go check all that out. And thank you for watching.